Ready?
Yeah. Oh, okay, not so bad, not so bad. Shut up.
Higher. Yeah, hand. Yes, that hand looks good. Put it like underneath. And now tilt it less. No, you're tilting it more. Tilt it less. Okay. Higher up. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. No, Sabanya.
Hi, I'm Lauren. This is Cook Spooks, and at the start of every year, I tell myself that I'm going to go on a book buying ban. We're halfway through January, and it hasn't gone very well so far. So I'm rebranding the book buying ban into a winter haul. Like, this is the only set of books I'm going to be buying until like March. Some of them were Christmas gifts, some of them were with Christmas vouchers, some of them I just bought because I can't be stopped. Let's look at some books. The first pile of books are the Charcoal Press translations. My partner Jessie very kindly got me the 2021 collection for Christmas last year. So a good old chunk of these were a Christmas present technically, but I've never actually looked at them all together, so I thought I'd just really quickly run through them. Charcoal are an Edinburgh-based small press that do translations that are mostly South American or by Latinx authors. The two I've read so far from this pile are The Rooftop by Fernanda Trias, translated by Annie McDermott, which is a very strange insular novel about a girl who lives with her child and her dad, and you never know who the kid's dad is or if it's like an incest baby. Wild ride, great. Next I read Salva Amada's Brickmakers, translated by Annie McDermott, which is about two small families who both kind of have the industry of making bricks, and it's essentially like a very ill-fated Romeo and Juliet with the West Side Story vibe. So then we've got two more Salva Almada books which I got from my mum for Christmas. We've got The Dead Girls, translated by Annie McDermott again, and The Wind That Lays Waste by Chris Andrews. No idea what these two are about. The vast majority of the Charcoal ones I don't know, I just know they're going to be stunning translations. So these are kind of quite high up on my to-read list. We have Ida Vitale's Biobu, translated by Sean Manning. Louis Sagazi's A Musical Offering by Fionn Perch, the translation. Giuseppe Capulto's Orphan World, translated by, two people, Juana Adcock and Sophie Hudgens. Elena Knows by Claudia Pinero, translated by Francis Riddle. Occupation and Resistance by Julian Fuchs, translated by Daniel Han for both of them. Havana Year Zero by Carla Suarez, translated by Christina McSweeney. And Federico Falco's A Perfect Cemetery, translated by Jennifer Croft. I'm very happy to be building up my Charcoal collection because they're just stunning, phenomenal. So the fact that I've got like 10 unread on my shelf just brings me so much joy. And I do have a couple of other translations. I've got one more translation which I got for Christmas from my mum, and it is Red Dust by Yoss, which was kind of like a Douglas Adams buddy cop movie, space opera, bizarre, wonderful, had like weird little paradoxes and time fissures going on. I love that it's Cuban, translated sci-fi, translated by David Freyer as well. Another one that I'm like convinced is translated, even though the book and the world tells me it isn't, is Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bazterrica. It's by Pushkin Press, who does all of our lovely Japanese collection translations. So I find it very odd that it isn't translated, but this is about what if all the fruit and veg, all the good stuff, suddenly becomes toxic. No, that's not what it's about at all.
It's about eating people.
This is about eating people. This is what if all animal meat becomes toxic and we have to start eating people. I do think that's the correct answer. I don't think even in that situation I'd become a vegetarian. Just cannibalism, mate. That's all it is.
Those aren't yours.
They're ours.
Those aren't yours.
Our books. In kind of the latter half of last year, Jessie got really into the original 1980s version of Dune, and then we got really into the new version of Dune that came out towards the end of the year. So, as you've got to do, we bought Dune, and then Jessie's mum for Christmas got us the next two, which are Messiah, Children of Dune. Not sure which order they go in, but there's two of them, and they're going to be real sci-fi cheesy goodness. Also, technically Jessie's, a gift from a friend, are The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which I read last year and loved, and Less by Andrew Sean Greer, which I know nothing about. But that man looks like Donald Trump, and he's going to take a lot more than 66 fall damage on that, so I'm quite happy. To add to our existing collections, my obsession with the Penglish. Penguin. My obsession with the Penguin English libraries died down a lot last year, but then we went into Waterstones with a gift card and I was like, I don't know what to buy, and they've brought out some new ones since I last had a look. So we picked up The Garden Party by Catherine Mansfield and The Awakening by Kate Chopin. This was recommended to me by Rachel like 4 years ago, and every time we go shopping I think about it and never pick it up. So she knows I've bought this now. I finished The Garden Party last night. It's 15 short stories about falling in love and being fancy and having high tea on the patio, and now I feel like I need to buy a little parasol for when the weather gets out nice again. But yeah, loved it. Jessie and I were both kind of walking around Waterstones trying to think of something we could get with this voucher, and we kind of took our own little paths, our little routes, and then when we met up again in the middle like a true main character moment, we both held up the same book because we're so in love that we think the exact same things at all times. And that book was The Employees, a workplace novel of the 22nd century by Olga Raven, and it's translated from the Danish by Martin Aitken. I have just read off the front like a good booktuber. It's basically interview notes from colleagues who work in this very sci-fi futuristic place about an event that has occurred, and you don't know what the event is, but it's kind of very much that mixed media Illuminae kind of vibe. Hardbacks. So then we went into Forbidden Planet while we were waiting for our film to start at the cinema, which is never ever a good idea, and all the hardbacks were on sale. I hadn't realised that Waterstones hardback sale was in store only and only for 3 days, so I totally missed it. Didn't miss this one, made good use of it. For £1.99, £1.99, I got a hardback, The Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. This was like big on BookTube back before I left. No idea if it'll be for me. Dark academia, fantasy, and I think it's like you go to this school, magic stuff happens. Will you ever go back to society? Will you survive? Who knows? For £1.99, I'm gonna know. And then, peep the signed sticker, please. The Devil in Darkwater by Stuart Turton, which is a high fantasy murder mystery romp, sprayed edges. You know it's got to be done. The little signature, got pretty end papers, and a very plain, quite anticlimactic, actual hardcover. Then I've got The Crying Machine by Greg Chivers, which was like £5.99 because it's kind of a little bit beat up. This is one of those ones that I'd see on the shelf at Waterstones all the time and be like, it looks funky, I like the cover, maybe I like the story, but never kind of felt compelled to pick it up. It was signed, it was cheap, it had to be done. And there's the signature. And is there a pretty dust? No, there is not a pretty naked hardback. Now my benchmark for like peeping under the cover of dust jackets is the Starless Sea, and nothing's ever going to live up to that. Never in a million years. Like, I need to just stop hoping things are going to be pretty. Then, Christ, this is heavy. We've got To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, Christopher Paolini's sci-fi debut. Love the Aragon series, but then I lent my last book to someone in sixth form and she never gave me it back, so I never got it read. So Katie, if you're watching, if you find this one day, I'm going to piss on your grave, because that was my book and I was fucking dying to know what happened. But anyway, we're going to have to put up with this. Very kindly, my mum's boyfriend gave me a book for Christmas. He gave me The Women of Troy by Pat Baker. Unfortunately, this is the sequel to Silence of the Girls, which I have not read. So I'm going to see if I've got it on ebook on my iPad, and if not, that's the one book I'm allowed to buy, is a hardcover copy to match this. Normally I don't really care about hardback, paperback. Really, I prefer paperback. But if it's the second book in a series, I feel like they should all kind of be the same. Because I started trying to read this on Christmas Day and got really confused. That's all of them, right? Oh, handily provided by my sweet love, The Transgender Issue by Sean Fay, which is just like, give people human rights, stop being a shithead, thank you. But it's going to be fun and interesting to read about all the lovely oppression that occurs in the world. And that is my haul. Surprise, I forgot one. This is The Origin of Gesta Laval from Critical Role. Critical Role, if you don't know, is a Dungeons and Dragons podcast in D&D. Took over my life last year. And this is just how Jester joined the Mighty Nine, where she got her start. It's just a very sweet little art style. Like, it just does the job. They've been producing it really, really well. And I loved it. Thank you for watching. As I said, hopefully I do not have a haul for you until like at least March, May time, because that'll be my birthday and I've got an excuse for more books. But we kind of realised we have a lot of books, so we're trying to pare down how many we buy, and this is more than enough to keep me going. So this was my little winter haul. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any and I can put them higher up on my list depending on what you say. And I will see you again soonish.